Thousands of Africans are set to be deported and also lose their job as Donald Trump, the president of America, officially stops the supply of the US aid to Africa for 3 months. People are reacting. Let's watch their reactions and then we come back.
So Trump just put pause on aid in Africa. And I must say there are some people who are seriously affected. People who are relying on this aid for medication, for food and the likes. And my heart really goes out to them. However, guys, we are crying about ARVs right now and other medication and food right now. But we can't even stand on our own 2 feet with regards to things such as ARVs. I think this is an opportunity for us as Africans to actually take our positions, right, and put that begging bowl away and start finding our own solutions, because we can't, guys. We can't be saying and crying about ARVs, basic medication, and saying that we need you, then that's how we end up being manipulated. So it's quite sad that things have come to this. However, we need to be able to stand on our own 2 feet as Africans. Man, we've got all these resources, we've got all these things, but we still need to beg for ARVs. We still need to beg for medication. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. But guys, let me know what you think. And again, my heart goes out to those affected. Cheers. Bye-bye.
We have depended on USAID for over 60 years, and the moment the owners of the money say, let's take a 90-day pause that I audit where my money is going, suddenly the whole country goes into a frenzy. And this should be a moment of reflection for Uganda and the African continent in general. We have been asking for a very long time to be liberated from colonialism, neo-colonialism, and now that the opportunity presents itself, for some reason, we are complaining. Because let's get something straight. Often the money given to us in foreign aid is lost to corruption, misuse, depleted and overrated salaries to particular individuals, or sometimes we lose billions of money that are unaccounted for. So it only makes sense that the donor is asking for an edit, and if that means pausing the amount of money coming in, they should. And I do understand the implications of this pause because so many heavily funded healthcare projects run on USAID, but that should be a moment of reflection. This is just a 90-day pause. What would happen if the United States just said, we're not giving you money anymore? And within their rights, they can't do that because it is their money. It's high time Uganda and the African continent got themselves together and actually started looking for systems that are sustainable and not always depend on foreign aid, because we are struggling with debt. On top of that, we have constant aid, which doesn't necessarily help us to have a more independent system. Instead of writing paragraphs of why this is a bad move, we should essentially realize that, we're actually in a bad situation and we cannot always depend on aid because it can go any day. African nations should wake up. Uganda should wake up because this is not even funny.
President Donald Trump has suspended aid to Africa for 3 months. Okay, so for the next 3 months, the United States government is not going to provide any aid to an African country of any kind. All right, so this has brought a lot of talk, a lot of confusion amongst the population of us Africans. People are complaining and even blaming Donald Trump for actually imposing this kind of sanction. I would call it a sanction because most African countries actually depend on American aid. But I think this is a good thing because most Africans are actually lazy. We are lazy. We elect leaders that are so dependent on Western aid. And we are going to see now, in the next 3 months, watch Africa. In the next 3 months, we'll see which leader or which government is strategic, which government is actually based on developing their country using their local resources. We are going to see in the next 3 months what Donald Trump has done. Actually, should have actually let it go up to 5 years so that we are able to actually learn how to actually process our own minerals and use it for our own benefits. We have got vast minerals in Africa. We've got vast water resources, fresh water resources in Africa. We've got different kinds of resources, mineral resources, natural resources, all kinds of resources Africa has. But the problem is with leadership. 99% of African leaders right now, African presidents, leaders, kings, monarchs are useless because most of them depend on Western aid. Now we are going to see, since Donald Trump has actually suspended for the first time, he has actually suspended international aid, specifically to Africa. We are going to see which African president and which African economist and which African country is actually headed by a good president. Because, we have got a problem here in Africa. Okay, one of the things I've discovered is that even when these people are campaigning, these presidents, when they are campaigning, one of their key campaign points is their connection to the West. Are they well connected to the West, specifically the United States of America? Are they well connected to the United States of America? When people hear that, they think that this guy who is connected to the United States of America is going to help turn around this economy, the economy of their country. And they're going to vote for them. They're going to vote for this president who claims to have more international connections than a person who is actually locally oriented. So at the end of the day, we are going to see today Africans, especially youths, let us stop voting for these people that bring confusion. Let us stop voting for these people that cannot actually turn our natural resources into finished products, cannot add value to our local resources. You understand that? Let us stop these people who do not have that kind of an agenda. Anyone with a westernized agenda, we should refuse.
You're welcome to my channel. Over here, I do gist, I do reactions and all that good stuff. Kindly like and subscribe to the channel. It's a shame that in 2025, Africa is still depending on the US for HIV treatments. It is so sad that just because the United States said for 3 months they will not be supplying any USAID treatments to Africa, just look at how the continent has been destabilized. People are crying. Many people saying that they are on HIV drugs, treatment. How do they fend for themselves? How do they afford it? Is this how clueless African leaders are? Are African leaders this clueless? That is why I always say, you see, white supremacy, it will take Africa a very long time before we can come out of it. See, these white people, they will continue to step on Africans. They will continue to step on their heads because the government that even rule the Africans can't even provide health care. That just because for 3 months, the US government would not be sending aid to Africa, it just looks like Africa will just go down the drain. The leaders we are electing, what are they then doing in power? The resources coming from Africa, what are they being used for? Africa is one place whereby minerals of resources are being generated in their numbers. Nigeria has crude oil, Ghana has gold, bitumen, a whole lot of resources are coming out of this continent. What are they used for? That's down to even health care. The African continent is depending heavily on US. And the annoying part is that even despite the aid the US government sends to Africa, many of those drugs do not even get to the end users. I was hearing Nigeria, the US government sends up to $9 billion. I'm like, what? Trust you. Even up to $1 billion is not even spent on those things. Some group of people will just come, corner it and eat it. Just because just 3 months, the US said they won't send those aids. They want to target and see what those aids are being used for. Just look at how people are crying. I understand those that will lose their job. I understand that. But I'm talking about, look at the way people are crying on social media. So if US doesn't send you aid, people will not get, Africa, we have a long way to go. I believe with this, I like what Trump is doing. I like it. because it will make African leaders stand up. It will make Africans stand up. We'll stop running to the diaspora like our heaven on earth. We will now start holding our leaders accountable. I want to see the African leaders that in the next 3 months will be able to turn this whole situation around and provide aids for their people. I want to see what African leaders will do if they don't get aids from the diaspora. You will always hear them collect loans from the UN, from World Bank, and I'm like, is it that African leaders cannot do any project without taking aids from the UN? What is the problem? With all the resources we have in this continent, every time they are in low debt, Nigeria is in debt, Ghana is in debt, South Africa is in debt, every single African country is in debt, serious debt, despite the minimal resources this continent has. It's a shame and it's so sad. But lovelies, feel free to drop your own opinions in the comment section. Do you think this is a good move by Donald Trump, or do you think no, Donald Trump should not have done this? Let me know your own opinions in the comment section. I'm Delicious Army here. I talk Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, and all the good stuff relating to them. I will definitely see you in my next one, guys. Bye bye.